Well, Louisiana's place in history as an epicenter of the civil rights movement in the 1950s and 60s now has a permanent physical place for the public to learn about this pivotal time. Louisiana is preserving and telling stories of the people and places that fostered social change into cultural experiences. A new civil rights museum that opened this month in New Orleans and the Civil Rights Trail around the state. I toured both experiences that retrace the footsteps of Louisiana's civil rights advocates and important moments in history. The Ernest N. Morial Convention Center welcomes visitors from around the world for commerce, cuisine, and cultural experiences. As the site of Louisiana's new Civil Rights Museum, visitors and Louisianians can now learn about pivotal moments and people in the state's civil rights movement.
So the exhibit is divided into three themes, story pathways. We have the right to assemble, we have the right to vote, and the right to education. And at the beginning of each pathway, you have legacy stories that show the foundation of these different pathways.
Interactive experiences, including oral histories and videos, offer firsthand accounts of segregation and the efforts to achieve social and racial equality in Louisiana during the 1950s and 60s.
That was the year of the bus boycott.
It took Black people, white people, men, women, people from all backgrounds to really come together. And as you watch some of the media and videos, you will really see how visceral the whole experience is of the Civil Rights Museum, of the Civil Rights Trail through the markers. And hopefully it resonates with you in a way that you can move forward in your life and want to make a change of your own.
The history of Louisiana's civil rights movement is filled with powerful images and events. In 1953, the nation's first bus boycott, led by Baptist minister T.J. Jemison, occurred in Baton Rouge. The event served as a model for the Montgomery bus boycott in Alabama in 1955. In New Orleans, on November 14, 1960, 6-year-old Ruby Bridges became a symbol of public school integration as the only African-American student to attend William Frantz Elementary. In 1967, students marched from Bogalusa to Baton Rouge, some 106 miles, protesting violence against African Americans.
So the real heroes that first stood up here in Louisiana, and to finally recognize them on the national level is pretty special for Louisiana.
Louisiana's Civil Rights Museum tells part of the story. The other half of that story is throughout the state of Louisiana along the Civil Rights Trail, which marks important places where pivotal moments in the state's civil rights movement happened. It's a series of life-size sculptures honoring significant locations in the civil rights movement.
It was very emotional when we put those markers up across Louisiana.
Each metal figure is a human silhouette weighing over 200 pounds and standing 6 feet tall.
The markers are a way for people to be up close and personal with the actual people who are on the front lines, and I thought that was a better way to do it than just a plaque.
The latest marker to debut on the Civil Rights Trail is in Natchitoches at the Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot. It's one of the last remaining examples of segregated public facilities. The site was a conduit for the Great Migration as African Americans migrated from rural communities in the South to larger cities in the North and West.
So hopefully, a lot of these areas where these markers are going up are economically depressed areas. It will breathe new life into those communities all over Louisiana. So it'll have a historical recognition, an economic impact, and we're putting it into a program that can be downloaded in schools that we can tell this story for generations to come and honor those men and women that stood up and sat down at a time when they risked their life to do so.
Along the Civil Rights Trail, a marker in front of Dookie Chase's restaurant, New Orleans, commemorating the site as a common meeting point for leaders of the civil rights movement.
I said, how can we make the most impactful, powerful piece of art that when people walk up and engage with it, they feel like they are, in fact, with the people who are on the front lines, and it's a very immersive experience. So we really were aiming for people to feel like, oh, I am looking at a protester during the civil rights movement. And I think that has been accomplished.
In Baton Rouge, a marker stands at AZ Young Park, the Louisiana Old State Capitol, and the Crest Department Store building. Each is a memory keeper and a truth teller of Louisiana's struggles and successes. Together, the Civil Rights Trail and the Civil Rights Museum create a cultural narrative that aims to reconcile the wrongs of the past with a promise of a more just future.